Hi, this is Pam, Pam's Paper Place, and I have finished this journal, which is a soft cover with this beautiful tapestry. And so I will list this tomorrow in my Etsy pen to paper by Pam. It's like the other one that I made that I'm keeping for myself. This one is, well, let's see, I think it's about 8.5 by 6. And it has 2 signatures. I haven't counted the pages yet, but I've worked long and hard on this. It has lots of fun fibers along the top, and it has this little pretty flower here, that little gem in the center, and it's got some black lace, this like doily that I dyed a little darker, this flower here. It has some gray, kind of a crochet, a little bit of green, and this black lace. And then it has pom-poms along the side and lots of fluffiness. The top and the middle. And then the bottom has lots of fibers and then these little leaves that are poking out here. So, and then it has this doily right here, and it has a real pretty button. And it's a nice little squishy. And then here's the flower on this side with that little gem in the center, and this flower looks pretty here with some of this green, the black lace, this little bit of a dyed doily, and this gray crochet lace. And then here's more of the little fluffies with little leaves. So, and then it's has this pom-pom trim. And like I said, it has all this right here, and it's tied with this, it's like a vintage bark cloth that I love. So you have fibers and lots of fun things on the bottom, top. So let's open it up. And I did a little bit of a craft with me, so you might, you know, recognize some of it. But it has this lace here in this pocket, and then it has the leaves here, all underneath here. And this pretty little pocket, it's got some little trim here, little fuzzies, and then that little wooden button. And it has a vintage postcard. I'm not sure what date it is. 1909. It's 1909. And then I have this little envelope stitching along it, and then inside is a little stitched card with bees and a couple lines of stitchy or wonky stitching. That goes in this little pocket. And then here I made this little wax seal, and I put a little little tiny fern in there. So thought that looked pretty with a kind of goldy color. So tucks in here. And some pretty scrapbook paper. And then this is really sheer fun ruffle, and it has little fiber going through it, zigzagged. And let's see, this is where I stenciled here. And this is the story begins, and then I added, I glued something here. I did, I glued something. It has this green lace here, and then it has some fabric, and then it has a couple fibers, and then this real pretty butterfly on this coffee dyed paper. And then here's some of my scanned flowers that I put on this page here, copied. There's a real pretty bird page, these little birds here. This is from a Digi, The Poetry of the Earth is Never Dead by Keats. Here's some of my vintage look tape that I made, and another little washi tape. See how pretty that is. And this is Tsunami Rose, I believe, here with a little scripture here. On here, I added this, stapled this little mushroom, this fabric, and this little coffee dyed paper on here. And here is a thicker vellum with the mushrooms, and you can see that little fairy behind there. And when you turn the page, there she is on this handmade paper with leaves in it, and I added some eyelash trim. And then you could write on the back of there too, because you can see through there. Here's a like a stationery page. I added this for a flip out, and then I stenciled here. Here is some vellum. Added this really pretty eyelash trim here. Purples. Here's cute digital with that little fairy. And then I figured out, before when I was doing my craft with me on this journal, I couldn't quite figure out what fabric I wanted here, but this works. And here's some handmade like green paper. So I added this little Martha Stewart butterfly here, and this little lace, this fabric, and this lace here for that little flip there. So I thought that was pretty. That's what I was looking for. Pretty mushroom paper. Here's a little tuck. Here's a bird page here. And then there's a little bird from a bird book. A tuck. I thought that went well. There's a little nest and a bird and on this page also. I added a feather here with, I scotch taped it with my handmade vintage tape that I altered. Here's coffee dyed paper, and I added this little mushroom to the side. I also added this little paper ribbon here, this cute pocket. We have this little pad of paper, little piece of paper with the butterfly. This little butterfly booklet, papers. And this little booklet, a little wonky stitching here. That's my scanned flowers on cardstock. Cute little raccoon. Digital. And here is a little paper ribbon with this pretty little yarn here, fuzzy yarn. Writing, and I added some tape here. There's a little stationery, a little tuck here, that little butterfly and a little bunny, and some paper. That was pretty. This is part of a children's book right here, the flowers. I think it's pretty. You can see the trims here. It's the other side of that children's book. I did some stenciling, and then here you could write here and here, and then I added these fibers and then the flowers. I used an embossing folder. It looks like wood here. This is the middle of the first signature. I embossed this envelope, added this cute little raccoon, and then you have some paper in here. This is notes, observations. So this is like a nature, woodland, and a little bit of fairy journal. And then here's the middle. So right here on this is a little envelope, manila envelope. We have this cute little tag. I added these cute little creatures here, woodland creatures stitched. And then this little tag here with Echo Die print. This is from Louisa Hensel Digital. And then, oh, look at the cute little raccoon. Added the leaves. And then there's this little mushroom bead here. And some beads. And then right here at the top of this envelope, there's a little pad of papers with various papers in it. Just fits in the top. With some Rick-Rock at the top. A little pretty scrapbook paper that matches this paper. And then you flip it up for writing. And then also, and you can see the leaf trim here, and then also here is a cute vintage, one of these like little post-it mailers with the cutest little raccoons. Well, I thought that'd be cute in this little tuck here. My granddaughter might be here, so if you hear some noise, that will be her. And here's the little raccoon, little mushroom. And then here we have a little wooden butterfly and a couple wood beads. And then cute little footprints and some green burlap. This opens, and there is a postcard of butterflies. Here we have some pretty paper flowers with little buttons. And there's the cute little raccoon with some of my Scotch tape. Here I added this little interactive with fairy circles. I thought that was pretty. And then on this side, I have some pretty purple with some green fibers going through, and this ends my tape. That opens up. Children's writing book. Here we have an altered paper clip with the pretty butterfly and some fibers. And that holds this little tag here. And lined paper with this leaf trim, and you can see it on this side too, pretty. Little washi tape here, digital. Here's a little fairy girl. I put on some mushrooms. Her little butterfly girl with her crown, cute. Here we have a tuck with this pretty tag that is zigzagged. And then we have a little booklet. I add a couple little things here, but got a bunch of papers here. We got a bird book here, bird page. Here's a tuck, cute Elsie Bell's bookshelf. A cute little tag, and this is my tape with a rabbit. And then here, this has a little rabbit charm here. And then I added some papers here. And then writing on the back. A little bunny. So I put a lot of work into this, a lot of elements. I have this here with some tape and a cute little owl playing card. Some of that handmade paper. This is a little butterfly that I sewed, note paper, sewed the eyelash trim through. And then it flips up for writing. Cute little fairy. And here's a vellum pocket. Added some little grass to the bottom of it. And then here, this pulls out. And you have this at the top. And then you have these pretty purple little fibers here. And a cute little deer. That's done zigzag, or sewn around. Put that at the top. Stationery, I have that little dragonfly onto this handmade paper, and we got a cute little fairy guy there. And when you turn this vellum, you can see him through there. Here was another little girl, fairy I put on here. Isn't she cute? She's sassy. Another little scripture here on this beautiful page. Here I stitched around, and it's a little tag, TLC Creations Digital. Added some washi tape there. Here I zigzagged this little leaf trim, and then I had scanned this and put this on this guest check in a little paper scrap there. Part of that bird book, my scanned images of my flowers. I think this is Musings by Nikki. Pretty tag zigzagged and added this trims and a little fabric to that little mushroom pocket. Here we have some of my stenciling. It seemed like a long time ago that I did that. And then this, I added a magnet. Oops, I gotta take this tape off here. I'll do that later. But it has some of these little cards in here. Aren't they pretty? And I added a gusset, and then there's a magnet. This is the second signature. It has really pretty ruffle here with some flowers, and I sewed some trim through that ruffle. And this is the beginning of the second signature. And I added this little lace here in this pocket. It's been stitched around, has this flower and fibers here. And then this comes out, and you have more of these fibers and a little button. And then you can journal here. Coffee dyed paper and little that trim, and then places to journal. Pretty. I did a stamp here, that bee. Digital page, writing, and that real pretty bird book. Here's another little pocket, and it has a postcard. And this little booklet. Different papers in here. Then we have handmade paper. I tore the edge. Here's an Edith Holden page. So pretty. And then we have a tuck here. There's a little card that I zigzagged around. This is really a pretty paper, a little washi tape. This is part of an envelope. It has a butterfly paper clip, so it comes off. And then I added this butterfly, I added this paper here, added this fabric to the side, added the notes, added this paper, and then inside you have a mushroom card and some, this is observations. What pretty paper there. Oops, this won't work. That. And then we have mushroom coloring pages, and then this is where I added some trims here. Fun page. You could color that if you wanted to. Then we have a digital, and then I added some more of this little paper here. Little tuck, and it's got this pretty paper. And real pretty paper here. I printed on hand-dyed paper. Got a little paper ribbon with little bits of green paper in it. Here is a tuck. It's an invisible pocket. It's got a pretty dragonfly, a pretty butterfly with some fibers through it. And then we have a postcard. We have this little card here with fibers and paper on the back. And then this little tag with a fairy. Look at the cute little bear, and I added fibers. Fussy cut that little tree out, tree stump. And then here is some more of my scan papers on craft paper. And here's a little animal book page. Here I made a tuck, and this is from an address book, The Bumblebees and Bees Love Ground Ivy. It's from like an address book, kind of a botanical one. Thought that was a fun card to put in there. And then I stenciled these fern and leaves. Here's a pretty page. It's invisible pocket. And there's this little card here. And then I think this is from Ephemer's Garden. And I stitched around. And then I added these little, this for the topper. I also added on this page a little, little cluster there. Then here's a cute little owl page, and I added this owl stationery. Thought that went good there. We have more of this vellum with a mushroom showing through. Added fiber and some paper to that. Coffee dyed paper. Here I have a little place to write there and a place to write here, and then it's also a tuck here and here. I did some stenciling. It's another little fairy card, and then this little pretty card that I added some trim and a seam binding. There's a pocket. I added this little flower here. We have this little fairy card. And this, I made I sewed around it and then added paper and a little resin flower. This here and just a little ribbon. So that's pretty. And then here's the envelope, the middle of the second signature. I added these butterflies, and then I just made some dots like they were flying. And the flower butterflies are dimensional. And then you just pull this out, and you have a little fairy card. And this is dimensional. And goes right in the envelope, and then the little wings stick out. Thought that was pretty. And the same thing on this side. These wings do pop up here. Another pocket on this side, and added some paper flowers. Have this little library card. And this is Fairy Love, added the little topper. And this is from a Ideals book, and it had this poem, A Child's World. Then I made this paper ribbon with bits of paper stitched in, and here's a little fairy card. I just inked it and put bits of paper and ruffled it up. And then here's a little owl that I put eyelash trim around, and then you turn it here and you can see the little owl. Add a little accent right here. And then we have this little fairy girl and these mushrooms. I set her up on the mushrooms. And it says believe. Here's a little invisible pocket, and we have this really pretty fairy card zigzagged around, and then look at this pretty little topper here. And then here is a little fairy right here on a moon charm. That little burlap. Then we have a little pocket with this cute fox, and there's the stenciling that I did. There's the other part of that bird page, whoops, and a couple little tags. And this little booklet. Here's a mushroom pocket. It's a digital. We have this little booklet. Different papers in here. And then here's some paper here. And I have a little, just a little trim layered there, cluster. And then we have this little pocket, a couple sweet little tags. And then I did a little stamping on this dyed paper. And I love that paper there. Printed on some dyed paper. Here I have some lace, and I zigzagged down the seam binding, and then there's a little flower, a little daisy charm. And then we have another side of that coloring book page pocket, and it's got some trim here and a couple little flowers. And we have a little envelope. And then we have this little envelope. I think I got cut off, and a little fairy card, which goes in this pocket on this. This is that thicker handmade paper. Really pretty. And then look at this cute little fox fabric flip on the back of that Edith Holden page. And then I did a little sewing here with this really pretty fibers. And this is the other side of that Edith Holden. We've got that handmade paper. And this is part of a bird book. A digital page. Another little fairy. I put her on some mushrooms. The coffee dyed paper. We got a tuck here. And this really pretty trim. I'm almost out of it. And then this little gem, and it has little fibers coming down. And that goes in there. And then we have this ruffle that's sewed here with a little green running through it, and then this mushroom pocket. And I got this little baby fairy. I have her sitting on there. And then we have this. And the last, we have this trim here, and then all this little leaves and things. And this is like a little writing board that I sewed around. Fits in the pocket. And then you got the pom-pom trims and everything. So that is my chunky little garden journal. And I will list it tomorrow. Pen to Paper by Pam. Hope you enjoyed watching, and y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.